I'm about to do something a little unusual. I'm going to build the design system for this tool's website, designsubstrate.com, live on camera using the Design Substrate skill. It's a structured vocabulary you build with AI that it then executes from instead of defaulting to the mean. And once you have one, every single thing the AI generates for you changes. And building one, it's pretty quick. So AI design is generic by nature. You know it when you see it. Every AI generated website, every deck that came out of Gamma, every landing page someone vibe coded in Bolt, they all have the same feel. They all have the 3 little cards. They all have the button up here and the little menu thing that's a sticky at the top. Same voice that sounds like it was written by a very polite machine that's never had an opinion about anything. People blame the AI for a lot of things. Claude just makes everything look the same. ChatGPT has a voice problem. The AI is not the problem. The AI is doing exactly what you told it, which is nothing. You gave it a blank canvas and no vocabulary, and it gave you back the statistical average of the entire internet. It gave you elevator music for design. But there's a fix. It's not a plugin. It's not a premium tool. It's a layer that most people don't know exists. I'm going to show you exactly how it works, demo it live, and give you everything, the tools, the templates, and the actual design systems I use today so that you can do this today. Like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So before I show you the skill, I want to show you something. I asked Claude to design designsubstrate.com, but without the tool. And the site for the tool that fixes generic AI design should be not generic, right? Well, here's what it made, okay? I mean, I gave it this prompt, okay? And it said, let me understand what's in the directory, went in, started to plan, gave me a plan and everything. And this all looks good in theory, right? Here, Design Substrate is an AI-compatible skill that lets Claude, Codex, and Gemini build websites with clean, consistent, tailored design languages. Yay! The homepage needs to sell that concept with bold, creative energy. No, it didn't do that at all. And in fact, it gave me something so stunningly generic that I'm just like, what is this? It does everything that's in the anti-patterns. It does everything it's told not to do because I didn't use the skill, because I didn't give it that same vocabulary. And so the end result is something that's just so clearly AI. It has the 3 cards. It has the gradients. It has the get started button. It has the sticky header up at the top. It has all of these little touches that scream Claude code. There's a checklist built into the skill. 12 patterns that make AI output look identical. And if you hit 3 or more, it's generic. And this hit 8. And this is the problem. Now let me show you the fix. Off we go. So what it's going to do right here is it's going to read all the resource files. We'll have to approve some permissions. But then it's going to go ahead, come back around, ask us a few questions. What are we building? Show it something that we love and also things we definitely don't want it to be, and the temperature. And what it's going to do here is the very first round of the build, that very first initial kind of attempt to understand what we're after and help define that taste for us. So let's see what it creates. So while we're waiting, I'm going to show you how I got here. It started out with the homepage for Ultra, the terminal-based IDE that I developed for myself and did a video about recently, link in the pop-out and in the description. And so this was, I felt like, really nice. I took Capuchin Frappe, my favorite theme right now, built the website around it, had it take all the documentation and build an entire architecture around everything. Full documentation, how it all works, all the different features in the app, everything that I really wanted to be able to tell people about. But the thing was, it was still kind of generic and it just didn't really work. And so when I went to redo my company website, I ended up asking it, let's do some iterations. Let's go through and start to build a few more things. Let's start to not just take one thing, but let's start to create a little bit of a system. And I had it go ahead and make a system. And I iterated a bunch of times. I started with color schemes and the basic elements, went through, did a couple different rounds of it, did a few more, learned where I started to find what I liked about it, and came in and honed in on something that I felt was a breath of fresh air from a website I previously had on Webflow that was honestly, it was terrible. It was so hard to deal with. I hated Webflow. And doing this was so much easier for me. And so it created something that I was happy with. But then when I wanted to go do the design for my own website, I learned that it still wasn't enough. And my wife said something interesting that I'll come back to later, because now it's time to see what Claude did. He went ahead and built out an entire system. And let's go ahead and pull this up. So here it is, designsubstrate.com, and went ahead. So temperature 7 out of 10. What do we got? We've got taste, we've got attribution, we've got first look at the homepage. Let's see what it did. Oh, your AI makes beautiful things and they all look the same. Oh, well, that's a color punch. I'm kind of enjoying that. Went up far with color here, didn't it? No, this is a good start, guys. So let's go take a look at our taste. Bold, playful precision. It gave us temperature scale here. Look at our color palette. Okay. It's definitely something there, a lot more than others. We still got some generic elements. These left borders are in here, but it did follow what I wanted, which was that color, the big solid colors in here, as well as the typography during fireball.net. So it did a lot. So we have something, but I think we want to have this go a little further, right? Let's see what it does to make V1 look tame. So while it works on surprising us, I want to show you where that came from. When I was redoing my personal website, it was so generic. It was a Jekyll template that honestly looked so blah. I ended up doing the same process as with the Zora's website, but this time I created the hub and I said, let's go through different iterations. Let's look at each design, and it rickrolled me, by the way, and see kind of how can we iterate through it to come up with different things. It came up with growth rings, which I thought was really interesting. It came up with the thinker, which was fun because I told it about my core values, curiosity, understanding, and growth. And it did some interesting things here, but it didn't quite go. It still was doing something that wasn't hitting. And then my wife said something interesting. She said, it's still going to come back around. It's still going to go back to the mean. Tell it, I want something new. Surprise me. Push the envelope. And surprise me worked beautifully. And it started to get new things. Every time I asked it to surprise, it got further and further out there. And I kept pushing it until I got one that was like a terminal. It actually had a bunch of different things in here, which was a lot of fun. It really took on this terminal aesthetic. You could see it and even put it in every single aspect of it, which I thought was really neat. But then went even a little further. It did lab notes, which was really interesting. Note, subject exists, high curiosity index, recommend continued observation. Like, it started to kind of nail my personality and understand more about me as it went, which was a lot of fun. But then I said, let's keep going with this. Let's push past that. It did signal, where it had some of these really interesting dynamics to it. And I want to show you one more in here, which was code review. It actually made a Monaco editor version of the website as like a code editor that you could go in and browse the pages, which kind of melted my brain and had a lot of fun with it too. So it really pushed the envelope in interesting ways. But we'll come back to this. Right now, let's go back and see what Claude has built for us. Alrighty. Crank from 7 to 9, the page is a terminal that breathes. JSON as content, animated aura, scan lines, hue rotating borders, code syntax. Bioluminescent terminal. Whoa, escape the mean. AI converges on the same palette, the same layout, the same voice. Design Substrate is a structured vocabulary that unfortunately has too low contrast right here. We need to improve that. But look at that. Discovering the taste profile, it kind of imparts it. One skill file, every AI coding tool works with all of them. Well, the big three right now. It's not everything. Now that was fun. Let's dial it up another time. We're going to go for a 10 and see what it can do. Okay, so we're back with Claude, and oh, it did something fun and interesting here. So this is temperature 10. We've got something completely new. We have 3 new variations. Let's just do it again. Let's keep running with it. And let's go take a look at this design. Because what did it make? Oh, wow, the interference pattern. We got something, something new. Your AI has no taste. We fixed that. And so give it taste, give it skill, everything. It made basically 10 out of 10 WTF. Like, you could see it really pushed. Like, this is not what I would have expected out of it. But let's give it some feedback. We're running on an iteration here. Let's iterate a few more times, come back and see what it does. All right, so we asked it to iterate. It says 3 pretty different takes. Let's get interesting in terms of design interaction, but we want it to be comprehensive. So what I'm going to do is I gave it some feedback. What did I like about V2 with that energy? V3 just had that pow, that almost punch, but V1 was more usable. So we want a few iterations that'll show these different UX paradigms and follow the overall energy that we've been able to develop. So let's see what it generates here. Claude has gone and done a bunch of work, and it made 3 new iterations. Magazine editorial hybrid, single page app with HUD navigation, and a scroll-driven narrative with cinematic reveals. It's interesting. And I think it kind of stuck back to, say, temperature of 8, but we really want to maybe go back to 9. Let's see what it gives us. So it's updated the hub page, and we've got all 3 right here. So how do we get? So, oh, scroll sideways. Interesting. Well, I can't scroll down, which is a slight problem there, but design language that AI can actually speak. Sketch first, systematize later. Okay, it gave us something interesting here. I think the dynamic's fun, but it's not quite as interactive. let's go back to V5. So no scrolling, we just have kind of everything in here, all the ways to install it. Oh, this is fun. Structured vocabulary, okay. So it's something, that's a start. We really needed to push though. Let's keep getting it to push. Do 3 more iterations. Let's do temp 10. Let's see what it does here, because we really want it to come up with something interesting. But I think that it's asking for feedback. Let's see what these iterations do and then come back around. And it did 3 interesting ones. Terminal conversation, before after split, and punk zine layout. So the conversation, live terminal transcript. Okay, so just kind of took everything, wanted to render it. Actually, I like this because it's showing the process almost of what we did. And I think that's probably one of the most descriptive ones right here. So while the terminology isn't quite on, this is a great way to articulate what it's actually doing. And I really like this. So that's one. The split. Oh, AI, it just straight up does a comparison. The mean and your substrate. Now that's a fun way to show things too. I think we might get duplicate content issues with Google, but at the same time, that's a really neat dynamic again. Really kind of amped it up here. So let's take a look at the last one, the zine, punk typographic explosion. I'm actually excited to see this. Wow. Escape the mean. Your AI has no vocabulary. Oh my God, I love it. Dude, look at this, guys. This is amazing. Look at what it did here. This is what we get. Each of these has been something really interesting. And there may be things this is pulled from before. I mean, I don't think it's completely original. It's doing things that are new, that are novel, that are also helping us articulate what we want. And now we're going to take this and define this into the design language that we want to look at. So I feel like I want to take the zine. I think that's my favorite, but I also want to take the conversation, this flow of the conversation. I think that's really, really important. I think this was a little too much. This went too far, but there's still some fun things it did, fun animations that we can enjoy out of it. But I think that like this had a neat typography. The punk zine has the feel that we want to get from this. And I think the conversation is what we're after. So let's go back to Claude and let's give it that set of instructions. So what we want to do today, all right. So yeah, I think it's doing a good job. By the way, we're using Opus. This works great on Sonnet as well. So let's give it some feedback. All right, so we had to go ahead and do another version here. And this is an example of where we just did not give it enough direction or tell it to surprise us, because it kind of gave us something a little generic still. So it has something, but it doesn't have that punk zine energy, which I think is what we really wanted. I think that this worked, but it tried to kind of cut too much into it. So it lost that flow in here that made this really hit, that interesting, almost playful dynamic. This is something people will remember. It didn't quite get there, but we can get there. So let's give it another shot. All right. So ask Claude to go ahead and do a V11, and okay, I'm excited. I want to see what it did, because it looks like it kind of took what we were after from before, really grab that punk zine energy, but still get that conversation and the split. And escape the mean, here we go. Everything, we've got the angles, we've got it did the comparison, but it put the comparison at that angle too. 3 questions, then a real page. What are we building? All of it. I like this. It grabbed kind of the elements that we were after. It pulled this together into something. We've got the typography, we have the angles, we have the colors, we have the interest in here. And it did it in a way that I think like it tells the story effectively. So this is a great start. Now what we want to do is say, cool, we're locked in. Let's go ahead and build up the rest of the elements. So once you have what you want, you formalize it. Type in structure, and it takes everything that you've built and turns it into a complete design system. Colors with intent, type with hierarchy, spacing with logic, voice with examples. And so let's go take a look at it. And here we have it. Everything we're looking for: taste, colors, typography, spacing, components, voice, and attribution. Every page here is self-contained HTML. 0 dependencies. Open any file in a browser. Send a single file to somebody. This is your design system as a browsable artifact, not a PDF, not a Figma file, something that lives in your repo and runs anywhere. In this, the hub is styled by the substrate itself. It's not a generic file index. It's the front door to your design system built with a vocabulary that you just created. And this is what designsubstrate.com is going to look like now. We started with something like this super basic but interesting first look, and we wound up here in this punk zine, which has all these fun elements which are so interesting and tells a story. We went from a blank prompt to this in a session, and outside of the cuts, this took about 35 minutes. It's impressive. So how do you get this? Go to designsubstrate.com, copy the curl command, open your terminal, hit enter, and bam! It detects which AI tools you have, Claude, Codex, Gemini, CLI, and asks you where you want the skill. It takes about 10 seconds and you're done. Once it's in, open your AI tool and type /design_substrate to invoke the skill. Then taste 3 questions in your first page and you're off and running. The repo is MIT licensed. Everything is open. The design systems I've built are also on designsubstrate.com. I want to show you the examples of what I did, both my personal site, everything else, Zora's site. You can see it. They're all linked in the description too, so you can go ahead and check it out directly and frankly, rip off whatever structure works for you. So I hope this is where your Substrate journey starts. Really appreciate you all being on this journey with me. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, or go to the Git repo and actually use it. And if you find something interesting or you think there's a change that needs to be made, comment, show me, share it with me. I'm going to keep working on this because this is the tool I'm using all the time to do design work. I want to share it with you and see what you can do to make it better as well. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.